Right now at 10, severe weather passing through southern Wisconsin this evening. The reports of damage from today's storms. And Wisconsin Supreme Court sides with the governor, what their decision means for his veto power. Plus, the NFL draft is less than a week away now. We'll hear from our Packers expert on what positions they might fill. And that's all coming up on News 3 now at 10. Good evening and thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson. Eric Franke has the night off. As we just mentioned, storms moved through southern Wisconsin early this evening and all day. It will be a wet Easter Sunday as well. Meteorologist Blaze Keller joins us now from the weather patio with all the details.
That's right. We had 2 rounds of severe weather this Friday in the morning, obviously producing that large damaging hail like what they saw in Evansville. This was sent to us from Nicole, that baseball-sized hail reported out of the Evansville area. Many other places in southern Wisconsin picking up 2-inch in diameter or greater hail this morning. And then we had a second round this afternoon, mainly across southeastern Wisconsin. There's a look at our morning severe thunderstorm warnings as they came out of Iowa and produced that large hail as we started off our Friday. We had 2 severe thunderstorm warnings this afternoon. Since then, we've been pretty quiet. We did have a slim chance for maybe 1 or 2 severe thunderstorms earlier this evening, but thankfully the storms that happened about 3-4 o'clock this afternoon really took a lot of that available energy and ingredients necessary, so we didn't have that third round potentially. Now we're sitting underneath some light drizzle here outside the studio and across parts of Dodge County, Jefferson County, as well as northern parts of Rock and Walworth counties. That extends all the way up into Fond du Lac as well. Upper 50s to low 60s still from Madison south and east into Janesville, 49 in the Dells, 48 Black River Falls, south into Camp Douglas. We'll eventually settle into those 30s and 40s tonight underneath mostly cloudy conditions, maybe a few lingering rain showers closer to Lake Michigan. As Sarah mentioned, we are expecting a rainy Easter Sunday, but conditions will be nice on Saturday. So we'll break down your holiday weekend in the full forecast.
Sounds great. Thank you, Blaze. Evansville saw hailstorms this morning, leaving behind some considerable damage. The hail was the size of golf balls. News 3 Now spoke with one woman whose home was pretty damaged there. You could see she took off work to start the cleanup process because of the sheer amount of debris. And she says that when she heard the hail coming down, all she could do was hope.
I was hoping that the roof held. I was hoping that the windows held and that nobody was outside at that point in time. I mean, it was about 6:45 in the morning, but I had just been out for a walk half hour prior.
Also, vehicles have also seen a lot of damage, with our crews seeing cars tarped over because their windshields are blown out, as well as cars being towed away. And with storms causing millions of dollars in damages across the state, the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection is urging residents to be careful when hiring repair contractors. The agency says to work with your insurance company and always check contractor reviews. They also say you should avoid those storm chasers, people who go door to door offering repairs, but they may take your money without doing the actual work. Finally, homeowners should verify permits, get contracts in writing, and avoid paying up front. Classes remain canceled at Florida State University after the nation's latest mass shooting. 2 people were killed and 6 others injured after a gunman opened fire on campus. The 6 victims were transported to the hospital with wounds to the chest and abdomen. Florida State students and faculty grappling with the tragedy have been coming together to comfort one another and place flowers and mementos at a growing memorial.
Everybody's still in shock of what happened. It was obviously a very devastating time yesterday.
Police identify the suspect as 20-year-old Phoenix Ickner, a Florida State student and also stepson of a local sheriff's deputy. Authorities say one of the weapons he used in the attack was his stepmother's former service weapon, which she did legally purchase as a personal handgun. An American citizen is free tonight after Immigration and Customs Enforcement wrongfully detained him. Earlier this week, Florida Highway Patrol arrested 20-year-old Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez during a traffic stop. Lopez Gomez, who lives in Georgia, was arrested for crossing into Florida illegally. However, He is an American citizen born in Georgia. Yesterday, a judge authenticated his birth certificate and he was released. Also an update now on the status of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He's the man mistakenly deported from the U.S. last month. Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland is back in the U.S. today after visiting Abrego Garcia in El Salvador. The senator says Abrego Garcia is in good physical health and now removed from the notorious prison in El Salvador, transferred to a different facility. However, he still has no ability to communicate with anyone outside of his detention center in Santa Ana. Despite court orders for the Trump administration to facilitate his return, the White House said Abrego Garcia will, quote, never return to the U.S. The Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction will not sign a request from the U.S. Department of Education. This request is to certify that the DPI will not use federal funds to favor certain groups. State Superintendent Dr. Jill Underly says the Department of Education has been unresponsive to requests for clarifications on its demand and that the process and rules around the certification are vague. And the Wisconsin Supreme Court handed down a new ruling on the governor's line item veto. The court ruled in a 4-3 decision that the governor can cross out certain numbers in the state budget. 2 years ago, the governor creatively cut out certain parts of the state budget to extend education funding 400 years into the future. We spoke with a UW legal expert about how that power shapes Wisconsin government.
Yes, so a lot of states have this partial veto that allows the governor to strike parts of an appropriations bill. But Wisconsin's is the most powerful in the country. It really allows the governor to selectively edit words, or in this case, digits, to sort of create new law.
State lawmakers have been waiting for this court decision before moving forward to work on the state budget. Based on this decision, we could see lawmakers take extra time in crafting the next 2-year spending plan. You can see more on this decision this Sunday at 10:30 a.m. on For the Record. While measles is continuing to spread in the U.S., officials have confirmed more than 800 cases now of the disease in 25 states. Texas has by far the most cases, although concentrated outbreaks were also reported in New Mexico and Oklahoma. The U.S. had declared measles eliminated back in 2000. A first-of-its-kind program from UW Health is helping more families get access to fertility care services. There is a growing demand for infertility and reproductive endocrinology, which is referred to as REI, around the country. The first REI Care Fellowship for Wisconsin began in late 2024 at UW Health. Now, doctors say when people think of REI care, the main thing that comes to mind is IVF.
Only a small percentage of women or couples need IVF because women may not necessarily be due to the women. So it's a very broad specialty, and IVF is only a small part of what we do, but a very important part of what we do.
This fellowship is only one of 52 in the country taking an extra step to train doctors in this specialty. Well, we're less than a week away from the start of the NFL draft, and the Packers' offensive line is in flux. 3 out of the 5 projected opening day starters are all entering the final year of their rookie contracts. All 3 could walk in unrestricted free agency next offseason. And the Packers drafted an offensive lineman last year, so would they pick one again? We sat down with our Packers contributor, Jason Wilde, to see if that's a possibility.
They drafted Jordan Morgan in the first round last year out of Arizona. They're picking around the same area this year. They're the 23rd pick. Back in 2010, they drafted an Iowa offensive lineman at number 23 named Brian Bulaga. And then in 2011, they drafted another offensive lineman. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
And if you look back at the general manager's track record, he's taken 3 linemen in 4 of the last 5 drafts. If you can add a couple more selections to the 8 he currently holds, Wilde says not be surprised if he takes a couple more linemen this year. And don't forget, News 3 Now will continue our coverage of the NFL draft in Wisconsin next week. In addition to Jason Wilde, Eric Franke will be joining sports director Zach Hanley and Andrew Banstra for our coverage. They will have all of the sights, sounds, and strategy leading up to next next week's first-round picks. Now, Wall Street is giving everyone a bit of a breather for the Easter holiday. Both the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ were closed for Good Friday. Regular trading will resume on Monday, and after that, the markets will close again on May 26th for Memorial Day. Then, less than a month later, we'll be closing again June 19th for Juneteenth, and again, of course, for July 4th for Independence Day. Well, Christians are celebrating Good Friday, but Pope Francis has not been seen so far. His road to recovery is not yet over after a lengthy hospital stay for double pneumonia. The pontiff is not expected to attend the traditional way of the cross, as he has on past Good Fridays at the Colosseum. Now, he is under strict orders to avoid mingling with the public, but that hasn't stopped him from making a string of surprise appearances.
Pope Francis is like the cat with 9 lives. He bounces back. He has enormous fortitude. He has enormous perseverance, but he wants to be one with the people.
With Easter this Sunday, popes typically make their Urbi et Orbi, an address to the city and the world. It's not known if Pope Francis will give a speech or not. Well, Easter spending is expected to be higher this year, believe it or not, according to a report from the National Retail Federation. Despite economic uncertainty, shoppers plan to spend $23.6 billion this Easter, over $1 billion more than last year. The bulk of the spending is on candy, which accounts for over $3 billion. However, chocolate might cost more this year. The price of cocoa has been rising for several years due to crop shortages from droughts. The National Retail Federation says people who celebrate Easter will spend about $190 per person. Well, when we come back, Blaze tells us about our weekend forecast, a little more detail, and 2 fathers search to save their adopted daughter's life, why they didn't have to go too far to find her second chance. That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back, everyone. This is a beautiful story. When some local dads brought their baby girl home, they had no idea they'd end up back in the hospital. And Sean and Steve Isles adopted that daughter and soon learned she needed more than just a loving home. The search to save her life began, and the solution was somewhere her parents never expected.
Despite her best efforts,
you gonna walk? That would be pretty cool.
Ellie Isles is still working her way up to baby steps, but her dads are in no rush.
She's nonstop.
They'll always welcome any chance to just slow down and savor the moments when they can sit and play with their daughter.
Shake, shake, shake.
Sean and Steve Isles adopted their little girl a year ago. There's no question about how much they love their 16-month-old. Steve always wanted kids, but Sean will admit there was a time he wasn't actually sure he wanted to be a dad.
Children was never in my life plan. I just never saw myself with kids.
It didn't take much for him to open his eyes.
She is the queen bee in this household, that is for sure.
Sadly, Ellie's reign was almost short-lived.
We thought we had a healthy baby for the first 4 months. She had some yellowing of her eyes and just she was throwing up and some other things. And that's when they told us at her checkup to get right to the emergency room.
They found out their newborn baby needed a liver transplant.
She was really very sick.
They got Ellie on the transplant list, but the clock was ticking.
For the children under a year of age who are waiting for transplant, the waiting list mortality is higher than for anybody else.
Getting a match for a full liver would be tricky because Ellie would need another baby's liver that could fit into her small body. The other option was to find a living donor. Since the liver can regenerate, an adult could give her a piece of their liver and be just fine.
It'll never regenerate to what it was, but it will regenerate to what it needs to be.
Steve and other family members weren't matches. At 6 feet tall, Sean, the man who wasn't sure he wanted kids, was positive he would not be a good match for his baby daughter. It turns out he was.
I became a match to be a living donor.
And I think both of us almost passed out when we heard that.
I was like, oh, well, this is my purpose on life.
Both Sean and Ellie went under the knife in August for a successful liver transplant. Since then, she's made some major steps. Pretty good for a girl who can't even walk yet.
She's just thriving, and it's so wonderful to see.
Out of all the dads in the world, Ellie found her perfect match.
This is family, right? I think people have a different definition of what they think that is, but I mean, this is family, this is love, and I hope people can see that.
For Steve and Sean Isles, it was an easy decision to give a piece of liver to Ellie, the little girl who had already stolen their hearts.
I don't see it as saving her. I happened to be there and my liver worked. Any parent would give up any part of their body to have their child live a full and healthy life.
That's wonderful. Congratulations. And Ellie initially did have some rejection issues right after her transplant, but that cleared up and she is doing well, as you can see. The goal is that liver will grow and function with her as she gets older. And to weather now, the alert day weather conditions have passed for southern Wisconsin, but we have some rain in the forecast. Meteorologist Blaze Keller joins us with what we can expect.
That's right. We're looking at a rainy Easter Sunday, but a very pleasant, albeit dry and somewhat breezy Saturday. But first, let's recap that impressive hail that moved through southern Wisconsin this morning. Thank you, Steph, for sending this photo of that hail coming out of Evansville. Again, you can send any weather photos, whether it's severe weather or just a really nice day, by scanning that QR code, heading over to our website, or submitting it via our First Warn weather app. Here's some of the top hail stone sizes coming out of southern Wisconsin this morning, ranging from 2 inches in diameter in northern Prairie to nearly 3 inches in diameter in Brooklyn, Platteville, Evansville, as well as in Edgerton. So some very damaging, large, and quite frankly dangerous hail moved through the area. Thankfully, nobody was hurt or injured, but obviously we have seen the damage coming out of these storms, and hail, because it can be so widespread, can cause quite a lot of damage over some areas. So I have here kind of a demonstration as to how hail forms. We've got rain that gets sucked up into the updraft, and it passes in the storms the freezing line, and that rain becomes ice. And as that hailstone eventually gets more pronounced and more icy, it goes up and down within the updraft, sinking and then going back up, sinking and then going back up. Eventually it becomes too heavy, and then it just simply falls. And as it does, it may actually slam into other hailstones that are in the storm, and it becomes bigger as it falls down. So that's the reason why we had such large hail today, is because we quite frankly had some very strong storms and their updrafts. Now we're going to be going quietly into the rest of your evening, into your Saturday as well. But as I mentioned, we are looking at some rain for your Easter Sunday. Let's fast forward feature track into Saturday morning, waking up at 7:30 if you're up. Mostly cloudy conditions. We do get some peaks of sunshine as we head into the late morning through at least the mid-afternoon hours. A little bit more cloud cover likely further south and east. Temperatures, as you can see, in the 50s, so pretty seasonal. And then we get ready for Easter Sunday. That's when our next low pressure system is going to move on in and bring us that chance for rain. So we're looking at 50s for your Saturday, the better of the 2 days to get out and maybe do some Easter egg hunts, because rain is going to move in, especially into the afternoon hours on your Sunday, and then overnight into early Monday. That's when the most rain is going to be widespread, especially along the Mississippi River, where some folks could pick up anywhere between 1 to 2 inches of that rain, mainly Sunday night into Monday, but many of us could pick up an additional ½ an inch to an inch of rain. And there's still moderate drought conditions across southwestern parts of Wisconsin, so we could always use just that little bit more precipitation. There is a breakdown planning your day for Easter. If you're going to be heading early to any church services, we do have that rain chance. And then on Sunday evening as well, we're going to be watching that chance for showers and thunderstorms. We will be in the low 50s. Now, the first day of the NFL draft is on Thursday. Some of our models do want to bring in some rain, and you can take our First Warn weather app with you. When I was in Japan, it let me know that there was a thunderstorm nearby, so it works literally everywhere. So you can track that out, but it doesn't look like it's going to be widespread rain. We'll be in the upper 60s to low 70s, not only Wednesday, but Thursday as well.
And coming up in sports, the Badgers are ready for tomorrow's spring showcase, where they're calling Saturday a big-time opportunity. That's next on News 3 Now. Tomorrow is practice 13 of 15 for Wisconsin, and it just might be the most important one during the spring for the Badgers. It's the spring showcase for Luke Fickell's squad. Not quite a spring game per se, but there will be hitting and tackling, and the starters will scrimmage for a portion of it. And after 3-ish weeks of playing in front of each other, you could say they're looking forward to showcasing what they've been working on.
There'll be nerves for some people. I know for me, a little bit, but that's always good. I know many of the coaches have stressed the magnitude of tomorrow and how important it is.
This is kind of our last opportunity, like our real live opportunity, because fall camp, we got to be smart. You can't really go live. This is going to be our last real opportunity till the ball gets kicked off against Miami of Ohio. So it's a huge opportunity, but as a competitor, you love it.
As we found out yesterday, Damian Lillard's timetable to play is sooner than later. He won't play Saturday, but the All-Star guard says he feels like he's ready to go. Needless to say, Dame is thrilled to be back for the playoffs, and so is Giannis. Remember, the Greek Freak missed the postseason last year and most of the year before, too, due to his own injuries. So the Bucks' dynamic duo is, in a word, excited.
He's always goofy and he's always, making a joke here and there, but like the excitement that I haven't seen it like this, like how excited he is to be back in the playoffs, and it makes me excited. So, I was getting excited before I knew I was going to be playing. So it's like now that I know I'm going to have an opportunity to play, I'm like, man, like it's all coming together, like in perfect timing.
Brewers back in action after a day off hosting the A's, and Jackson Chourio was well rested. No score in the third. Chourio bloops one over the left fielder's head, and Bryce Terang gets on his horse and comes all the way home from first to give the Crew a 1-0 lead. The next batter is Christian Yelich, and he smokes one into left to bring home Chourio. Brewers start the series with the A's with a win, 5-3, the final. Well, in case you missed it, the United States hung up on Germany, literally, during yesterday's quarterfinal in the Women's Worlds. If you look closely on the ice, you can see a cell phone. Well, it turns out it was Caroline Harvey's. Her phone popped on the ice after she hit the boards. Looked like there was a case on it, so hopefully it's working today. And Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals was all Madcaps. The Capitals skated past the Fighting Saints thanks to a 3-goal third period. Game 2 is tomorrow in Dubuque. We'll be right back.
Well, Bango has joined us.
Yes.
And Blaze was giving us a lesson on the eyes.
So most predator animals, their eyes are front facing. And if they're prey, the eyes are on the side.
Just don't knock them over when you're talking.
So watch out.
Watch out. Pacers should watch out. That's who the Bucks play.
He's eyeing them as a predator. We got no rain in the forecast for your Saturday, so get out and do some Easter egg hunting tomorrow, because rain showers and maybe a few thunderstorms move in for your Easter Sunday, and stick around into your Monday as well. Eyeing spotty shower chances for the NFL Draft on Thursday.
And have a great holiday weekend, or weekend in general.